Hi, welcome to my video on review of Trig number 3. And this review, as in all previous ones, can be treated as a quiz. And this one is going to be marked out of 10. So when you get the mark done for each question, total up each page at the bottom and add up all the pages and mark it out of 10. So now because it's out of 10, I can divide 10 into the numerator and get a decimal, move the decimal 2 places to the right to get a percent. Or I can multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 10 to get it out of 100, which will give me my percentage. Here we go. This one is marked different, and I'm only giving one for each of the correct answers, make it easier in the marking. Here we go. If 0 is less than alpha, less than beta, less than pi over 2, which means it's 90, the sine of alpha is 3/5. The cos of beta is 5 over 13. Find the value. And we're going to use this information to find A, B, and C. So what we have is that the sign of the addition is the sine cos sine. So that's alpha, beta, alpha, beta, and the sign is a plus. So the sine of alpha is 3/5, and the cos of beta is 5 over 13, and we need the cos of alpha. So that means because it's in the first quadrant from 0 to 90, I'm just going to draw the triangle that has, let's say alpha is there, because it's a 36, no, because it's, I didn't want to say 30, 60, 90. Because it's a right triangle, that means the acute angles are between 0 and 90. So sine is alpha is opposite over hypotenuse. And we should by now have memorized that if I got a 5, which is 25, 3 is a 9, 16 is left, so that's a 4. So the cos of alpha is adjacent over hypotenuse, which is 4/5. And the sine of beta, so let's draw a triangle again and put beta right there. And cos is the adjacent. Oh, yeah, cos is the adjacent. I was thinking different there. Over the hypotenuse. 13, 5, that's 166, subtract 25 is 144, so that's a 12. So the sine of beta is 12 over 13. Now I could cancel here, but canceling is really not going to help me. It just makes it more work. So the denominator for each of these is 65. So that means I'm going to leave it as 65 without canceling. So that gives me a 15, and that gives me a 48, and 65. Common denominator, add up, and I get a 63. 15 and 48 is 63. So if you have 63 over 65, give yourself 1 mark. Now, the tan is, the tan of the subtraction is the tan of alpha minus the tan of beta all over 1 plus tan alpha tan beta. And so the tan of alpha, tan is, there's alpha, tan is opposite over adjacent, so that's 3 over 4. The tan of beta is opposite over adjacent, so it's 12 over 5. Opposite over adjacent. And we got 1 plus tan of alpha is 3/4. The tan of beta is 12 over 5, So we'll simplify this fraction. And the top is already, two fractions are, what I have to do is multiply on the bottom first to simplify that. So 4 into 12 goes 3, so that becomes 9 over 5. Now the LCD, the way I'm going to do it, the LCD for the numerator is 20, for the denominator is 5, so the LCD is 20. So I'm going to multiply each of these fractions by 20. 20 times 3/4, 4 into 20 goes 5, 3 5s are 15. 5 into 20 goes 4, and that's a negative 48. 20 times 1 is 20, and 5 into 20 goes 4, 4 9s are 36. So that gives me a negative 33 over 56. And if you have that, give yourself a mark. Now, the cos of 2 alpha, cos has 3 names. It's cos squared minus sine squared. It could be 2 cos squared theta, cos squared alpha minus 1, or it could be negative 2 sine squared alpha plus 1. Because sine alpha is 3/5, then I'm going to go with the sine. So negative 2 sine squared alpha minus 1. Again, I could have went with the cos, because I have the cos is done right here. The cos of alpha is 4/5, so I could have used the cos one, but I'm going to use the sine one. So sine alpha is 3/5 squared minus 1. Now, PEMDAS, we have to do inside the brackets, but it's done. So we have the square. So 3/5 times 3/5 is 9 over 25. And we multiply next, so that gives us negative 18 over 25 minus 1. So that gives us negative 18 over 25. Common denominator is 25. So 1 is 25 over 25. So that gives us a negative. The common denominator is 25. Negative 18 subtract 25 is a negative 43. So if you have a negative 43 over 25, give yourself a mark. Again, and as in all my reviews, you can pause the video on each question and work out the answer first before I do, to see if you're right. Sine of beta over 2 is a half angle, and sine is sine is plus or minus 1 minus cos beta over 2. So in this case, the sine of beta over 2, beta is between 0 and 90, so therefore a half beta would be between 0 and 90, so that means it's in the first quadrant, so that means we have a plus. And 1, let's do this, let's make it a bigger square root here. Cos of beta is 5 over 13, so let's put a 5, and we make it a 13, all over 2. Let's do it that way, and have a big square root. So the common denominator, the LCD, again we got a complex fraction, the LCD for the numerator and denominators of this complex fraction is 13. So let's multiply each part by 13. 1 times 13 is 13. Negative 5 over 13 times 13 is negative 5. And 2 times 13 is 26. So that gives us the square root of 8 over 26. Reduce that down. That becomes 2 and 8 goes 4. 2 and 26 goes 13. So let's go up here. So that's the square root of 4 divided by the square root of 13. That square root of 4 is 2 over root 13. And to rationalize the denominator, we multiply by root 13 on top and bottom. So root 13 times 13 is 13. Is 13 times 13 is 169. Square root is 13. But when any square root is multiplied by itself, you get the same answer. And that's 2 root 13. So if you have 2 root 13 over 13, give yourself a mark. Total up your page, and hopefully you have 4 right. Let's continue. Number 2, simplify. So we want to simplify this expression. So we got 2 sine cos, and it looks like a double angle formula. So that's the sine of twice this angle here, right here, and here's the same. So that's pi over 4 minus a over 2. And 2 times that's the sine of 2 times pi over 4 gives you pi over 2. And 2 times negative a over 2 is negative a. And this is 90 minus a, so cofunctions. So this is the cos of a. And if you have cos a right, give yourself 1 mark. Number 3, we want to solve this equation, which has, and again, pi over 2 is a 90, less than theta, and 3 pi over 2 is 90, 3 90s is 270. So the angle we're looking for is between 90 and 270. So let's write out the addition formula for cos. The addition formula for cos is cos, sine, sine. So that's alpha pi over 4, alpha pi over 4. And the cos is a negative because it's, and a subtraction, so that's that one. Let's put it in brackets. We have subtraction, so there's a subtraction, and the sine is sine cos, sine. And we have alpha pi over 4. We have alpha pi over 4. And a sine, that's a plus, that's a plus. And it's equal to root 6 over 2. So let's simplify this. And one way, let's get rid of the negative first. So cos alpha, cos pi over 4, sine alpha, sine pi over 4. A negative of this is negative sine alpha, cos pi over 4. And a negative of a positive is a negative. It's cos alpha, sine pi over 4 equals root 6 over 2. Okay, what do we have here? Well, we have cos alpha, cos pi over 4. Let's see. Nothing is the same. So what we'll do is the cos of 45 and the sine of 45. Let's see. 45-degree angle. Pi over 4. Pi over 4 is 180 divided by 4, which is a 45. So that's a 45 and a 45. So that's 1 root 2. So the cos and sine of 45 is the same. So that's adjacent over hypotenuse. So that becomes root 2 over 2. So the cos of 40 pi over 4 is root 2 over 2. Sine is root 2 over 2. Cos root 2 over 2. Sine root 2 over 2. Now you'll notice that cos root 2 over 2, and that's a plus and that's a minus, they cancel out. So now I'm going to simplify this. So that's a negative root 2 over 2 sine alpha minus root 2 over 2 sine alpha equals root 6 over 2. And when we add these together, we get, that's a root 2, so that's a negative. Common denominator is 2, so it's a negative root 2, subtract negative root 2, sine alpha root 6 over 2. So that's a negative 2 root 2 over 2. Just doing one step at a time. So that's negative root 2 sine alpha root 6 over 2. And now we divide. So we divide by negative root 2 over 2. And let's go up right here. So that means we got the sine alpha. They cancel out. And this is root 6 over 2. And that's division right here over 1. So that's negative 1 over root 2. So that becomes a negative. Root 2 into root 6 goes root 3 over 2. Now, we say that the answer here got to be between 90 and 270. Sine is negative, not in 90 to 180 is quadrant 2. Sine is positive. So that means we're going to add sugar to coffee. Sine is negative here and here. So that means we're in quadrant 3. So if we're in quadrant 3, root 3 over 2 is quadrant 3 here, right there. And that's the rotation all the way around to here. So this the reference angle here, so the sine of the reference angle is root 3 over 2. And root 3 over 2 is, sine is opposite. So in relation to this reference angle, there's root 3, there's 2, that's a 1. So that means that's a 60-degree angle. So the reference angle is 60 degrees. So that means here, that's a 60. This is, so that means that alpha is 180 plus 60. So alpha is 240 degrees. And as a radian, let's change the radian. Let's go right here. So 240 times pi over 180. Cancel out 0. 6 into that goes 3. 6 into that goes 4. So that means alpha is 4 pi over 3. That's the only answer because we're restricted between 90 and 270. And if you have 4 pi over 3, give yourself a mark. Okay, here we go. Number 4, find two supplementary angles nearest degree formed by this line, y equals 3x minus 5 and y equals x plus 4. What I like to do in this question, I like to draw the diagram to make sure, just to get a picture of it. So let's call this L1 and let's call this one L2. So this one got a y-intercept of minus 5. So let's take the minus 5 to be right there. And the slope is 3 over 1. So let's rise 3, run 1. rise 3, and not exact. Don't have to be exact on this, just approximate. So this is L1, and I'm going to call that slope 1 for this line, and the slope of this line is 3. So I'm going to call the angle here, that the angle of inclination is going to be alpha for this line. Now we got another line, which is L2, which is this one, and the y-intercept is 4. Let's pretend it's just right there. And the slope is up 1, right 1. Slope is 1, so the slope of this line is 1. So we go up 1, right 1. So this line, and again, it's just an approximation. If I extend this over, this line is doing this. So the two lines, so this line, let's call this angle of inclination beta. And so the intersection of the two lines, which is right here approximately, let's call the angle of intersection theta. So that means in this triangle we have the exterior angle equals the sum of the two interior angles. So this exterior angle is equal to the sum of these two. That means that alpha minus beta is equal to theta when you move beta over to the left. So that means that we can go the tan of theta is equal to the tan of alpha minus beta. And this formula for tan is tan alpha minus tan beta all over 1 plus tan alpha tan beta. And the tan of alpha is related to the slope, so that's the slope of 1, the slope of 2, all over 1 plus the slope of 1 times the slope of 2, and the slope of number 1, 9, is a 3, slope of number 2 is a 1, and 1 plus slope of 1 is 3, slope of 2 is a 1, so that gives us 2 all over 1 plus 3. I have down on the bottom denominator, I have to multiply before I add. So that gives me 2 all over 4, which is a half. So based on that, I have the tan of theta is equal to a half, just to tidy it up. So that means theta is equal to tan to the negative 1 on the half. So you take up your calculator and you go, hit the calculator, turn it on, clear that. So inverse tan of 0.5 or 1 division 2, same thing. And I get 26.56, and I want it to the nearest degree, so that's a 27. So this angle is 27 degrees. And this angle is 27, then this angle right here is a supplement. So the other angle is 180 minus the 27, which is 153. So that's the two angles formed by the intersection of these two lines. And again, all that work to see if you got these two right, give yourself 1 mark. And that's a total of 3 for that page. Let's continue. Again, we're doing a review of the unit. So I try to have a mixture of all the videos represented. Find the exact value for tan of 75 using each formula. So we're going to use the addition formula, and we're going to use the half angle formula. And let's see if we can come up with the same answer. The addition formula for tan would be, one of them that I use is 45 plus 30. The tan of 45 plus 30. So 45 plus 30 is the tan. That's the tan of 45 plus the tan of 30. 1 minus the tan of 45, tan 30. So let's pick up a 45-degree angle. Let's see, let's go over here. 45-degree angle, again, you could have it memorized. So it's 45, 45, 1, 1, root 2. The tan of 45 is opposite over adjacent. So 1 over 1, the tan of 45 is 1. And we got a 30-degree triangle, so let's draw a right triangle with a 30 and a 60. And I go 1, root 3, and 2. So the tan of 30 is opposite over adjacent. So the tan of 30 is 1 over root 3. That's root 3 over root 3. So the tan of 30 becomes root 3 over 3. 1 subtract tan of 45 is 1. The tan of 30 is root 3 over 3. Simplify that. 1 plus root 3 over 3. We have to multiply in the denominator. Minus root 3 over 3. And what I do here is that I got a common denominator, complex fraction. LCD is 3 for the numerator, which is all of this. And the LCD for the denominator is 3. So multiply by 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times root 3 over 3 is root 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times negative root 3 over 3 is negative root 3. And we want to simplify. So the conjugate of 3 minus root 3 is 3 plus root 3 on the top and the bottom. And let's go up here. And we multiply this. We get 9. We're going to do FOIL. First, outside, inside, last. Root 3 times root 3 is 3. And because these are conjugates, then we multiply 3 by 3 to get a 9. And root 3 times root 3 is 3. We don't have to do outside, inside, because they'll give you a 0. So that becomes 12 plus 6 root 3 all over 6. And 6, you can take the 6 out of this binomial here, or you can divide each of these by 6. So 12 divided by 6 is 2, and 6 divided by 6 is 1. So we get 2 plus root 3. Give yourself a mark if you get 2 plus root 3. Now we should get the same answer using the half angle formula. And the half angle formula for tan, so the tan of, let's go with theta over 2, is plus or minus square root of 1 minus cos theta over 1 plus cos theta. So let's deal with the tan of 75. So the tan of 75 is the tan of, it's 2 times 75 over 2. So that becomes the tan of 150 over 2. So notice I multiplied it by root 2 over root 2, which keeps it 75. So 2 times 75 is 150 over 2. So we have plus or minus. So we're doing the tan of 75, which is in the first quadrant. So that's positive. And let's use a big, I get 1 minus, so the cos of 150 degrees over 1 plus the cos of 150. And we have 150. So let's draw 150 rotation. 150 rotation is as far as here. Terminal arm, perpendicular. So that's 150. This arc right here is 30. So this angle is 30. So that means this is a 1, that's a 2, and that's a root 3. And again, this is a 30, and that's a 90, so that's a 60. So I got 1, root 3, 2. So y is positive, x is negative. So the cos of 150 degrees is the same as the cos of this 30. Cos is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, which is a negative root 3 over 2. So let's simplify this, and we have pluses there. So let's go into 1 minus, and that's a negative root 3 over 2, and 1 plus, this is a negative root 3 over 2, and let's simplify that. 1 double negative is a positive, and this is 1 minus root 3 over 2. Simplify. Again, 2 is a common denominator in a complex fraction, so let's multiply every part by 2. 2 times the numerator gives me, excuse me, 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times root 3 over 2 is root 3. 2 times 1 is 2. And negative root 3 over 2 times 2 is a negative root 3. And we got to simplify that and do the conjugate. So we have, let's extend that right out and do 2 plus root 3, 2 plus root 3. And let's go down. No, let's go up right here. Don't have to cram it all in. And so that gives us, notice this is the same term, the same binomial, so I'll just go, without multiplying it out, I'm going to write it as a square. And the bottom becomes, when I multiply these two, 2 times 2 is 4. Root 3 times root 3 is 3 with a negative. So that becomes 2 plus root 3 squared over 1, which is the square root of 2 plus root 3 squared. Square root of 1 is 1, so that becomes 2 plus root 3. Notice the two answers are the same. So if you have 2 plus root 3 again, give yourself a mark. 2 marks for that page. Hopefully everything is going okay. So again, my review is designed to review all the topics that's in Trig III. And we ended up, excuse me, we'll do a proof. And in proofs, we go left side. So right down the left side. And we write down the right side. So it looks like it's easier to work the left out, which has all this terms. So we need to get tan as sine over cos. So let's start. 1 plus sine. And before we start, just a little note, I'm putting it here. Sine A is tan A is the sine A over cos A. So you say, why are you doing that? Well, I know that, but that means I got another name for cos 2A. So the cos 2A has 3 names. So because that's a sine, I'm going to put as terms of sine. So there's the negative. And I'm going to write the cos 2A in terms of sine. So it's 2 sine squared A negative 2 sine squared A plus 1. And again, because there's a sign there, I wrote cos 2a in terms of sign. Cos A and sine 2a is 2 sine A cos A. So 1 plus sine A. Negative 1 times these two gives you a positive 2 sine squared A minus 1. Again, the negative changes these signs. That's a positive and that becomes a negative. And we said we're going to do one step at a time, or I like to do one step at a time without taking shortcuts. The ones cancel out, so that gives me sine A plus 2 sine squared A all over cos A. So I wrote all that out just to cancel out those ones. So now, on the top we have sine is A is a common factor to take out the sine A. And I get sine A divided by sine A is 1. 2 sine squared A divided by sine A is 2 sine A. And the denominator has cos A common as a factor, so take it out. Cos A divided by cos A is 1. 2 sine A cos A divided by cos A is 2 sine A. And they cancel, so I get sine A over cos A. And sine A over cos A is tan A. And the left side, tan A. Right side, tan A. So I'll write the statement, since left side equals right side, it is an identity. And if you have that done out in that pattern, again, I took cos 2a and wrote it as in terms of sine, because I knew sine was going to be on the top, because tan is sine over cos. If you did 2 cos A minus 1, or if you did cos squared minus a sine squared, you would have to change those two to this expression here to get it right. Okay, so that brings us to the end. Let's go back to the first page, and you total up your page. And again, you total up your pages, you put it over 10, and you convert it to a percent. And hopefully everything is going well. And as hope your review is okay, I hope you understand the unit. That's what my videos are all about, helping you understand. And if you like my video, click the like button, click the subscribe button, visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. That's the content that's on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained, just one word. Thank you for viewing my video. Hope the video helped you. And this brings the end of Trig, the unit on Trig number 3. Bye-bye.